So I first heard the term Gauche Caviar in a skincare thread on Facebook or Reddit or something. Somebody was discussing the very fancy and very expensive La Mer cream and how nice it was, but how they just couldn't afford it. Someone else in the thread said, a great dupe is Nivea for Gauche Caviar. And I thought, ooh, what's that? That sounds fancy. That sounds French. So I Googled it. I Googled Nivea for Gauche Caviar. I thought Nivea was the product and Gauche Caviar was the company. I didn't find anything, obviously. I did find a dress boutique in France called Caviar Gauche, but not Nivea for Gauche Caviar. So then I just Googled Gauche Caviar, and then I figured out what it meant. What she was saying was that if you were a person with a more typical income, but you wanted a nice skincare cream, that Nivea was a good alternative to La Mer. Gauche is left in French, and caviar is caviar, or whatever. I'm probably even getting it wrong with the French accent. So Gauche Caviar is what they would call in France somebody who is a liberal hypocrite, a person with left-leaning politics, but likes to eat fancy things. It's intended to be an oxymoron. It's intended to be a pejorative. They're calling you a hypocrite if they call you Gauche Caviar. If somebody likes caviar, does that mean all the service and good works they've done are somehow meaningless? It's like champagne socialist or liberal elite or radical chic. Radical chic is a term coined by Tom Wolfe to describe white rich, fancy liberals who were in support of the Black Panthers. Wolfe wrote a sardonic, pithy, stream of conscience sort of essay trying to get into the mind of the radical chic and the Black Panthers. He picked on a party that Leonard Bernstein and his wife threw, for the Black Panthers in order to raise awareness for the Panther 21. He puts himself in Leonard Bernstein's mind, he puts himself in Don Cox's mind, and it reads like a conservative who's pretending to be a liberal. It's in the book, The Radical Chic, worry and wonder about such things like what sort of hors d'oeuvres do you serve the Black Panthers? It's like let them eat cake with a little bit of racism mixed in with the classism. At one point, he, imagines Don Cox realizes he's being tokenized and used for their own political purposes. There's this whole part where Don Cox is pontificating and speaking his truth and says such things like, we have the right to defend ourselves from the pigs. And then he then, despite the importance of the speech, cuts to the minds of the white women who are basically thinking, well, my husband would never do that. He's calling the women thirsty and the men cucks. Come on. But this part. Okay. So this part I think really kind of like is the point he's trying to make. The radical chic are trying to figure out how to staff these radical chic parties. And they can't be seen making the faux pas of hiring non-white servants. But they can't hire white servants because white people won't be down with the Black liberation movement. That's the argument they made back then. That's the argument they're making now. It's not white supremacy. It's just white advocacy, see? That's literally the argument Richard Spencer is making. But the thing is, Bernstein wasn't putting on the Black Panthers for an effect. He has a long, documented history of being a humanitarian. What people like Tom Wolfe can't understand is why someone would do this with sincere or genuine motives. They can only imagine actually having politics that help someone else other than themselves. The truth is, it just wasn't Bernstein and his Park Avenue apartment and all his friends who were trying to help the Black Panthers. There are a lot of churches who also raised money for them. You see, the Black Panther 21 were 21 Black Panthers who had been arrested for conspiracy to blow up some buildings. I kid you not. Police stations and department stores. And also a flower garden. They were acquitted because there wasn't enough evidence. And the general sentiment at the time was this is a frame-up by the FBI, who we do know now were trying to discredit the Black Panther music. And guess what? Bernstein was surveilled and spied on by the FBI. This was some COINTELPRO bullshit. If this seems not anachronistic, even though it happened 50 years ago, you would be right. Tom Cotton, just this year, called Black Lives Matter protesters radical chic. And I'm sorry if I don't look up how to pronounce this. Boogaloo, Boogaboo. I call them Booger Boys. I wonder where the Booger Boys got their ideas to pretend to be protesters and blow up buildings. Black activists versus buildings. Who will win? Is this sounding like a trope to anybody else?
Hey, editing Lydia here. I originally wanted to make a video that I could use or anyone else could use anytime we were called a liberal hypocrite. I was getting tired of, oh, you want to have a clean environment, but did you know that, solar panels take oil products or something like that? And I always thought that the argument was stupid, and I wanted a tool that didn't have to sit there and explain it all the time. And that's where this started. And I remembered Radical Chic because I read it in college, and so I pulled it out of my bookshelf and I'm reading it again, and then I started looking more into it, reading about what Don Cox was saying and what actually happened in that party. And by the way, Don Cox completely defended the Bernsteins, and he's like, and he called Radical Chic a racist trash, I think. What he was saying at that party was that the government, the cops, would come into Black people's homes, Black people's communities, and then when Black people defended themselves, they would use that defense as justification to further enact violence against Black Americans. And that's exactly what happened to Breonna Taylor. And, this frame up with the Panther 21, that they're going to destroy buildings, is the same argument that's being used to discredit the Black Lives Matter movement. And it's really frustrating to me that this was 50 years ago and the same stupid tropes are being used to fight against equality in this country. And the thing is, it's not true. We know it's not true. That like I mentioned, that was some COINTELPRO stuff, and they were framed, and because it's so ingrained in white fear that if we give equality under the law, that's going to lead to violence, and it's such an easy, basic manipulation tactic that people who would oppose that, white supremacist racists, use. And when you look at the Black Lives Matter protests, by and large they were peaceful, but then you start seeing that there was pallets of bricks out. You were seeing that there was agitators, agent provocateurs, whatever you want to call them, like these white guys who were not from the area, were breaking windows, hoping stores would get looted, and then of course they were. And then you have the Boogaloo movement. They're actually out there. They're not pro-cop in any way. They're like, you know, if you read a lot of the stuff that they were looking to do, they were looking to shoot cops and to make people against the Black Lives Matter movement. And it was really frustrating to me how many people I knew after they watched George Floyd die. And I actually didn't watch that video. I had just watched Ahmaud Arbery die, and I couldn't do it. I had read that he cried out for his mom. I couldn't watch it. And so many people I knew were on board. They're like, yeah, this is terrible. Racism is terrible. And then a week later, they were like, oh, you know what? I was with you guys, but then you had to get violent, and now I'm not with you. And it's like, just me as a white woman who, you know, cares about people of color. It's so aggravating and frustrating. I can't even imagine what it was like to be a person of color in this country, and to see that reaction, and to see how easy this counter narrative is, this trope is, this propaganda, and how well it works. And I don't know if people who are like that, who think that way, are just looking for a reason. They're just like, oh, just give me any reason to be against Black Lives Matter and I'll take it so I don't have to feel bad about myself. They're just looking for any reason to justify it. Or they actually fear that equality under law will lead to violence. And both of them are completely unacceptable. You know, if you truly believe that we are created equal, which, you know, our country believes that, all religions preach that, science has shown that, then equality under law is only going to lead to peace, not violence. And it's frustrating because it causes so much pain and suffering to so many Americans, and it just hurts America as well. There's no true benefit at large for systematic equality. And that radical chic was 50 years ago, and it's the same stupid stuff working today is overwhelming to me. And I just had to take a second. Editing Lydia had to pop in and make the video a little bit more somber. Yeah, so we'll get back to our regular scheduled programming.
Gauche Caviar is Bernie Sanders owning 3 houses. It's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez getting a cut in the color. It's Al Gore running his air conditioner and flying around the world. What hypocrites. Only politicians that argue for selfish politics can have more than one house, haircuts, and air conditioning. It's exhausting. Look, black and white, zero-sum thinking is an easy argument to make. It's simply not true. You can be an environmentalist and still take an airplane and a boat. You can still be an advocate for the working American and look nice. You can. Race activism isn't going to hurt white people unless white people are benefiting from exploiting other races. There is enough room in this country for everyone. It's a false argument, but it's so easy to make. What's hard to make is a counter argument. It requires nuance, it requires intelligence, and it requires thinking and creativity. And that's what I'm trying to do. I want to make space for that. And that's why I'm naming my channel Gauche Caviar. I've been a real estate appraiser nearly my entire career. I literally capitalism for a living, and I'm a lefty. My heart bleeds blue. Or is it pink? Is it red? Is it green? What tie does Bernie Sanders wear? I will be doing financial product reviews for people who aren't necessarily interested in finances. Like, how does Klarna work? How does Earnin work? What exactly is happening with Venmo? I will be talking more about how liberal or left-minded people can take a bigger equity position in their lives instead of handing it over to people who don't give a damn. I will be deconstructing political issues that I believe are not being argued in good faith. I will be seeking a way to bring community and comfort for those who do not benefit from capitalism. I will be doing product reviews of things that I believe will actually improve our quality of life at a good value. So like the word bitch, I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna pick it off the ground and I'm gonna wear it. You can think I'm radical chic, you can think I'm Gauche Caviar all you want, but don't at me, bro, with your condescending accusations of hypocrisy. I'm fucking fantastic. Let me close with this. Again, being chic is power. We want the people who are driving around the limousines to be liberals. We want socialists to be popping bottles. Jesus fed the masses with bread and fish. So you know what? Enjoy your caviar fondue.